The Revolutionary Army is an extremely powerful military organization led by Monkey D. Dragon. Originally known as the Freedom Fighters before assuming their current name, they are the only force in the world that directly opposes the world government and seek to dismantle it. They are particularly against the world nobles of Mary Geoise who control and benefit from the corruption of the world government. Supreme Commander of Revolutionary Army Monkey D. Dragon. Monkey D. Dragon, also known as the Rebellious Dragon, is the infamous Supreme Commander of the Revolutionary Army and one of its founding members, as well as formerly the captain of the Freedom Fighters. He used to be part of the Marines but became disillusioned with the organization's outlook on justice. This, along with the fallout from the O'Hara incident, sparked Dragon's desire to attempt to overthrow the world government, with his endeavors ultimately causing him to be labeled the world's worst criminal. Dragon is the father of Monkey D. Luffy and the son of Monkey D. Garp, having been born in the Goa Kingdom just like them. He was also responsible for saving Sabo's life after the latter had almost drowned from a world noble attack, eventually turning the boy into his second-in-command. As the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon is dedicated to dismantling the world government and its corrupt nobility system that allows its world nobles to oppress lower-class citizens as they please. He considers the corrupt nobility in his homeland of the Goa Kingdom to be the same problem on a smaller scale and was enraged when their self-serving actions caused an innocent noble boy like Sabo to denounce them. When he rescued Sabo the next day from being attacked by a world noble's ship, Dragon was shown with a powerful glare of anger on his face. Dragon prizes information and knowing his enemies, taking care to stay informed as head of a seasoned spy ring about as many world affairs and events as possible, while educating his subordinates about relevant pieces as their missions allow. A realist at heart, Dragon knows his movement is small and almost insignificant compared to the power of the world government and is quick to caution his subordinates against celebrating small victories given how much work is still to be done. Dragon's personal life and history are written in near invisible ink even to his subordinates and confidants, as he did not tell anyone in the Revolutionary Army that he was Garp's son or Luffy's father. Dragon is protective of his allies and the innocent and is almost as unforgiving as Sakazuki to those he considers having done wrong to them, stating he would not forgive Sabo if he really had killed Nefertari Cobra during the Leveille no matter the reason, as killing regular royals is not part of the Revolutionary Army's goals. While he is not shy about using violence to achieve his aims, Dragon does not appear to enjoy it or go to the extremes like a buster call which the world government is willing to engage with. As Supreme Commander of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon has the greatest authority over a powerful, globally active paramilitary that has risen to become a prominent threat to the expansive, centuries-old world government in only a few years. Dragon's actions have given him the distinction of being the world's worst criminal, yet he has managed to lead a largely secure existence despite the world's greatest powers being after him. After Luffy tells Emporio Ivankov that Ace is his brother, the Okama Queen greatly fears the possibility of the world government warring against Dragon along with Whitebeard. Dragon's infamy is so great that when Sengoku made Dragon's relationship with Luffy public, this caused panic in almost everyone present, including high-ranking members of the government, the warlord of the sea, Gecko Moria, several infamous pirates from Impel Down, and even some of Whitebeard's pirates, also having been enough for Luffy to be instantly marked as a dangerous future element, and some Marines began to prioritize their elimination above that of Whitebeard's crew and the Emperor. Although his individual combat abilities are largely unknown, he is able to command extremely powerful army officials, like his Chief of Staff Sabo and the 5 commanders, who have all been seen battling and defeating notable pirates and Marines in the Grand Line. Dragon himself was able to grab Smoker's jit when the Marine captain was preparing to use it on Luffy, quickly stopping him in his tracks, and despite Dragon's great criminal status, Smoker was not seen making the effort to try and apprehend him. Additionally, Ivankov noted that Luffy's inhuman will to live in Impel Down made sense for the son of Dragon, indicating that Dragon has a similar level of tenacity. While at the Goa Kingdom and Lode Town, strong blasts of wind have occurred in close proximity to Dragon, which have helped him accomplish his objectives in both places. It remains unconfirmed if Dragon was directly responsible for these wind blasts or if he has a power enabling him to create them due to an unknown devil fruit. Additionally, Dragon was somehow able to reach Sabo's ship as it was sinking far off the coast of Dawn Island and grab him right before he sank, without drawing attention from any onlookers. Chief of Staff Sabo. Flame Emperor Sabo is the Revolutionary Army's Chief of Staff, recognized as the number 2 of the entire organization and outranked only by Supreme Commander Monkey D. Dragon. He is also the sworn brother of the notorious pirates Monkey D. Luffy and the late Portgas D. Ace. Raised in nobility by his parents Outlook III and did it in the Goa Kingdom, Sabo ran away at the age of 10 with the intention of becoming a pirate and writing a book about his travels and met Ace and Luffy while living as a vagabond in Grey Terminal. He tried to set sail just a few months afterward to get away from his family, but had his ship destroyed by the world noble Saint Jalmac. He was saved by Dragon but lost his memory in the process, and so devoted his life to the service of the Revolutionary Army. However, his memories would return 10 years later after hearing about Ace's death. 2 years after regaining his memories, Sabo would reunite with Luffy and also carry Ace's legacy by consuming his devil fruit, the Mara Mara no Mi. He currently has a bounty of belly 602 million. According to Luffy, Sabo is a nicer older brother than Ace. He acknowledged Luffy's powers, and even encouraged his improvement. He helped Ace and Luffy get along when they were fighting, thus being the nice, diplomatic one of the trio. At age 22, Sabo has retained much of his old personality, although he appears to have adapted many mannerisms from Luffy, including his brother's tendency to mispronounce the names of others. Moreover, his tendency to hang up the den den mushi in the middle of a call rather annoys his comrades. He has also displayed an immensely fierce protective streak towards Luffy, to the point where he will disregard everything he is currently doing if he feels that Luffy is in any sort of danger, including his duties in the Revolutionary Army. Despite his recklessness and protective streak, Sabo demonstrates a pragmatic attitude in regards to his reputation and deeds as a revolutionary, as shown when he reluctantly complied with Nefertari Cobra's plea to escape from Imu and the Five Elders' assault to inform Dragon about the true ruler of the world government. He also accepted being publicly condemned for assassinating a prominent royal due to bolster the action provided for the Revolutionary Army's approval by the general public. As the Chief of Staff of the Revolutionary Army, Sabo has command over all lower-ranking members, with only one direct superior, Supreme Commander Dragon, to answer to. Even when he had not yet eaten a devil fruit, he rose to the position of second-in-command and was able to take on Diamante, a top executive of the Don Quixote Pirates, as well as Jesus Burgess, the captain of the Blackbeard Pirates' first ship and one of their strongest members, without any difficulty. After eating the Mara Mara no Mi, his power increased. He took on Admiral Fujitora and came out with only a few bruises, although Sabo suspected the admiral was holding back. Later, Sabo faced Burgess again and defeated him very easily. According to Ace, who initially planned for Sabo to become his navigator, Sabo also has some experience in navigation. After joining the Revolutionary Army, Sabo was personally trained by Hack and Monkey D. Dragon and attained immense physical potential. Of all the child revolutionaries who were soldiers in training, only Sabo excelled in the Revolutionary Army's rigorous combat training regimen, and Hack said that he does not need to be trained. Sabo has impressive stealth skills, being able to move through Pangaea Castle and make it to the empty throne room. He was able to hide his presence from Imu and the Five Elders until he made his move, shocking them since none of them noticed Sabo at all. After escaping Imu and the Five Elders, he was soon able to get out of Mary Geoise and stowaway on the Lugia Kingdom ship without getting detected, all while being badly injured. Sabo ate the Mara Mara no Mi, a Logio-type devil fruit that allows him to create, control, and transform his body into fire. He initially showed difficulty controlling his powers, which is typically displayed by new devil fruit users. He also mentions that he still has not grown fully accustomed to his new ability just yet, since he still has a habit of dodging attacks, despite now being a Logia user. He has adapted to his new abilities quickly and has since undergone training and practice to master his powers. Sabo has shown great mastery in the usage of Busashoko Haki, which he can imbue into his arm or his pipe. His mastery of this type of Haki is superior to that of Burgess, the captain of the Blackbeard Pirates' first ship, as he broke Burgess's Haki-infused right arm armor. Sabo possesses the ability to use Kenbunchiko Haki, as he sensed that Luffy's Haki had become weak during the battle with Doflamingo, and he dodged multiple bullets that were fired at him. Commanders of Revolutionary Army. The forces of the Revolutionary Army are divided into 5 armies, each of which operate in a specific region of the world. The G Army operates in the Grand Line, the North Army operates in the North Blue, the East Army operates in the East Blue, the South Army operates in the South Blue, and the West Army operates in the West Blue. Each army is led by an army commander, and each commander has a deputy commander who assists them. Commander of the South Army. Lindbergh. Lindbergh is a catmink and the commander of the South Army in the Revolutionary Army. Lindbergh seems to greatly enjoy combat, as he was excited to hear about the Revolutionary Army's upcoming fight against the world nobles. He likes to test his new weapons out in battle and was annoyed when Morley started attacking first. As an executive of the Revolutionary Army, Lindbergh holds a very powerful position in the organization, and as the commander of the South Army, he has control over all its soldiers. Lindbergh has received a bounty of belly 316 million, proving how dangerous the world government sees him. As a member of the Mink tribe, Lindbergh is a natural-born warrior and is capable of using electro. He is also able to transform into his Sulong form when he sees the full moon, though it is unknown if he can control it. Lindbergh is a highly skilled and talented inventor, having created weapons and gadgets of advanced technology that he uses for combat. He could create laser weapons which only genius engineers such as Vegapunk, Queen and Frankie could create. Lindbergh has a jetpack that enables him to fly. Lindbergh has expert marksmanship with his cool shooter, able to aim precisely only at the weapons of the Blackbeard Pirates, leaving them unharmed for the Lulusia citizens to defeat themselves. He also accurately shot through the chains of the world noble slaves with his laser shooter. Lindbergh possesses the ability to use Busashoku and Kenbunchaku Haki. Commander of the West Army Morley. Morley of Fur is a giant and a newcomer, as well as the commander of the West Army in the Revolutionary Army. Morley's existence was first alluded by Emporio Ivankov during the Impel Down arc, as the one responsible for the creation of Newcomer land. As a newcomer, Morley speaks in a very polite and feminine manner. She usually has a very jovial attitude and dislikes those who are unnecessarily violent. When she sees people paying attention to her, she constantly wonders if it is because they have a crush on her, not knowing why they would do so otherwise. However, she does not seem too fond of others being attracted to her, having been grossed out when Betty jokingly implied that the men of the Blackbeard Pirates had a crush on her. Her loyalty to Dragon was shown when she refused to tell Admirals Ryakuju and Fujitora where Dragon was. As an executive of the Revolutionary Army, Morley holds a powerful position in the organization, and as the commander of the West Army, she has full control over the soldiers in it. Don Quixote da Flamingo even pictured her as one of the key figures in the Revolutionary Army. The world government has given her a bounty of belly 293 million, showing how dangerous a threat to them she is. She is a capable fighter, as she was able to fight against Admiral Ryakuju during the latest levely and managed to get out safely and unharmed. As a giant, Morley possesses tremendous physical strength and a longer lifespan when compared to humans. Because of her size, she is able to move very large sections of the ground with her devil fruit power. Morley wields a large harpoon trident hybrid, which she uses in conjunction with her devil fruit power to move the ground. Morley ate the Ashiashi no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that allows her to push and mold the ground as if it were made of clay. Using this power, she can easily move underground, as well as attack enemies by pushing clumps of ground onto them, as it seems to otherwise maintain its original weight and hardness. Morley possesses the ability to use Busashoku and Kenbunchaku Haki. Commander of the East Army Bello Betty. Bello Betty is the commander of the East Army in the Revolutionary Army. Betty treats the people she helps very rudely, insulting them and only referring to them with degrading terms. Despite this attitude, her intention is still to recruit them into the Revolutionary Army by encouraging them to make their own choices. She believes that committing heroic actions is a decision one makes for themselves. When the people of Lulusia Kingdom took up arms and fought, she broke her normal attitude briefly to commend them on their actions. Despite her rude and disrespectful attitude, she does share with her fellow executives the same feelings of mercy and a desire to help those who are in trouble. Also, she does show respect and appreciation to those who stand to fight their own enemies and troubles, as she warmly smiled and proudly praised the people of Lulusia Kingdom for standing up and fighting the Blackbeard Pirates. As a Revolutionary Army executive, Betty is in a powerful position within the organization. As commander of the East Army, she has control over all the soldiers in it. The world government has given her a bounty of belly 457 million, proving that she is a significant threat to their operations. Betty is an extremely charismatic orator. With her devil fruit powers, she inspires numerous people to fight. Morley called Betty the flag bearer of freedom for her skills. Betty ate the Kobu Kobu no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that allows her to encourage and rally people into fighting, increasing their resolve and physical strength in the process. She activates her power by speaking encouraging words to her targets. Once someone has been encouraged, this power will keep their fighting spirit going for quite some time, though it is unknown how long this power actually stays in effect or if it even has a time limit at all. Her power is effective enough that she was able to turn the scared, helpless citizens of the Lelugia Kingdom into a fighting force strong enough to successfully beat back the invading Blackbeard Pirates with only sticks. Betty possesses the ability to use Busashoku and Kenbunchaku Haki. Commander of the North Army Karasu. Karasu was the commander of the North Army in the Revolutionary Army. Karasu was an honorable man who despises those who attack the weak. He is also very quiet, and he usually communicates via inaudible mumbling, thus he needs his loudspeaker mask to be heard by others. He does not appear to take kindly to people who react negatively to his mumbling, as veins bulged on his forehead in anger when Peachbeard pointed it out. However, he also tends to be forgetful at times as he forgot to turn on his speaker, resulting in his mumbling. As an executive of the Revolutionary Army, Karasu holds a powerful position within the organization. As the commander of the North Army, he has full control over all the soldiers in it. He has been given a bounty of belly 400 million, showing the world government sees him as a considerable threat. He is a very capable fighter, as he fought against Admiral Fujitora. Karasu ate the Susu no Mi, a Logia-type devil fruit that allows him to create, control, and transform his body into soot at will. He commonly uses this power to mold his soot into the shape of a flock of crows, as well as breaking up his elemental body into crows. His soot crows are able to fly at high speed and can relay information to his allies either by him speaking through them or delivering newspapers. The crows can also be used in combat, able to disarm enemies en masse by snatching away their weapons or by attacking his opponents directly. Additionally, each crow is capable of carrying an average-sized person on its back. He can use his soot in other ways as well, such as building it into constructs. He can fly by transforming his body into soot, even without his crow wings. Karasu possesses the ability to use Busashoku and Kenbunchaku Haki. Commander of the G Army Emporio Ivankov. Emporio Ivankov, or Iva for short, is the queen of the Kamabakka Kingdom, known as Okama King and a miracle person, and is a commander of the Revolutionary Army, commanding the G Army, which covers the Grand Line. Alongside Monkey D. Dragon and Bartholomew Kuma, he is one of the army's founding members. He is also a former slave of the world nobles. He was formerly a prisoner of Impel Down, where he was kept in level 5, but lived in the secret Okama Paradise in level 5.5. After escaping Impel Down and participating in the Summit War of Marineford, he returned to his post as Queen of Kamabakka Kingdom. Being one who follows the way of the Okama, Iva strongly values friendship and bonds above all else. He seems to find great motivation at helping both friends and subordinates and is ready to put his life on the line for their sake, as seen when he flew into a rage against Kuma when the latter attacked his candies. Due to this trait, Ivankov willingly saved Luffy and Bentham when they were on the verge of death after being touched by Luffy's selflessness and pleading to save Bentham. He also believes that people should be what they want to be, whether it be a man, woman, or Okama. He is very loud and open, even perverse, about his ideals as well. He does not care about other people's objections to his views, as was seen when he even turned a man who tries to kill him into a woman, after the man, now woman, was embarrassed by his ordeal and had previously stated he objected to Ivankov's views. He states that as a prisoner of Impel Down, he is not such a good person as he would not save someone's life. However, when touched by the words of friendship and hope, he considers their life worth saving. He is considered the greatest Okama in the world. As queen of Kamabakka Kingdom, Iva controls an island of male transvestites, which gives him a similar status on par with Boa Hancock, who rules over Amazon Lily. In Impel Down, he set up his new kingdom, or queendom, called New Kama Land and commanded a small army of New Kama Okama followers, all of whom were former prisoners. Following the war, he returned to Kamabakka Kingdom along with his New Kama Land followers, uniting his two king/queendoms. As a commander of the revolutionaries, Iva has control over the lower-ranking members of the army. He appears to have considerable skills as a leader, evident by his ability to unite the ragtag group of unruly inmates that strayed away and eventually found themselves in New Kama Land under his command. In contrast to his rather comical appearance, Ivankov is a powerful fighter should the need arise. His strength is great enough to allow him to fight on equal terms with the completely transformed pacifista, warlords of the sea Bartholomew Kuma. Ivankov ate the Haro no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit which allows him to create a variety of special hormones that can alter the recipient's body in any way he desires, effectively allowing him to remodel a human from the inside. He can also turn his fingers into syringes, which he uses to inject the hormones into a target's body, including his own body if he desires. With this power, he can freely alter any of the recipient's physical aspects, including sex, growth, skin pigment, stamina, emotions, and many other things. This power led him to be known as the miracle person. This is not accurate, however, as Ivankov himself stated that his hormones are not a miracle cure-all and can have potentially deadly side effects if overused. Ivankov can inject hormones into himself, granting him physical characteristics that are advantageous to him in combat. He can greatly enlarge the size of his head to greatly enhance the power of his signature held wink technique, and he can transform himself into a woman, making her body soft and flexible, rendering her resistant to blunt force. He can also create adrenaline hormones that can give the recipient a power boost, allowing them to continue fighting even if they are exhausted. Ivankov is an extremely powerful grandmaster of a martial art called the Nukama Kenpo. Ivankov could injure Chief Warden Magellan before losing to his poison ability, and during the Marineford War, Ivankov was practically the first, and probably the only one, to actually harm Kuma throughout the extent of the battle. Ivankov's trademark technique is the death wink. His death wink is powerful enough to shatter steel traps. This attack is often powered up by Ivankov's devil fruit, using it to increase the size of his own head, creating the more powerful hell wink. Commander of the East Army Ginny. Ginny was the former East Army commander of the Revolutionary Army, having joined the group alongside Bartholomew Kuma 22 years ago, back when they were known as the Freedom Fighters. She was the mother of Jewelry Bonnie. She was previously a slave who was forced to take part in the native hunting competition on God Valley 38 years ago. She and Emporio Ivankov were responsible for orchestrating the God Valley incident as a means of escaping the native hunting competition. She was captured by the world government and became a wife to a world noble. After contracting the sapphire scales disease, Ginny was released from slavery and used the little time remaining to her to return to the Sorbet Kingdom with her child, dying as a result. Despite her young age, Ginny was an accomplished thief and an expert at tapping into the transmissions of Den Mushies and transmitting her own messages. As the East Army commander of the Revolutionary Army, 14 years ago, Ginny held authority over the whole battalion. She wielded a rifle during this time. Commander of the Revolutionary Army Bartholomew Kuma. Bartholomew Kuma is a former warlord of the sea, the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom, and an officer and founding member of the Revolutionary Army with a bounty of belly 296 million. According to both himself and his daughter Jewelry Bonnie, he is part of a special race. Once feared as an extremely vicious pirate, earning himself the title Tyrant, he is now a human weapon called a pacifista, developed by the scientist Vegapunk. Once Vegapunk finished his modifications on Kuma, the warlord was converted into the first complete pacifista cyborg, with the serial PX0, and mentally died in the process. After protecting the Thousand Sunny for 2 years, Kuma became a slave to rent for the world nobles as punishment until his fellow revolutionaries freed him. Vegapunk also cloned Kuma as Esper, one of the seraphim that were designed to replace the warlords.
Kuma is an enigmatic man who is apparently famous for his fury and cruelty.
Calm and composed, Kuma generally does not speak much unless absolutely necessary and maintains a stoic, robotic disposition at all times.
When talking, Kuma customarily uses the word target in his sentences.
He also tends to ask a person where they would like to go on a holiday before sending them away with his devil fruit ability, often honoring the recipient's request, but will occasionally send them to a place of his own choosing regardless of whether or not he received a reply. In spite of his epithet implying a violent personality, Kuma was said to be a gentleman, according to Sabo, whose kindness earned him great respect from his fellow revolutionaries.
Likewise, Kuma was a very loving father to his only daughter, Bonnie.
Indeed, Bonnie vouched that her father's reputation as an evil tyrant was falsely advertised by the government and that he is in fact a very kind individual. This is further reinforced during the latter portion of the thriller Bark arc, where Kuma displays honor and respect towards Roronoa Zoro for putting his own life on the line for his captain's safety, an act that impressed the warlord enough to give the swordsman a chance to save his own crew, in spite of that conflicting with the mission he was assigned.
There are still several mysteries behind Kuma's character. The details behind his transformation into a pacifista and what exactly it entails are still unknown.
His past as a king and as a child have also been hinted to be quite tragic and horrifying, with Kuma in particular feeling embarrassed about the idea of others delving too deep into his private memories. Although he obeys the commands of the world government, Kuma disagrees with what his superiors deem good and evil in the world. He even goes so far as to speculate that Blackbeard's acceptance into the warlord ranks had been a very poor decision by the government, despite the fact that it filled the position left by Crocodile's defeat.
However, Kuma's loyalty does not extend to the Marines.
This can be seen when he declines to answer a direct question from Admiral Kizaru during the Sabaody Archipelago arc due to his refusal to assist the Marines without a direct order. Kuma did not hesitate to lie when it came to his victory over the Straw Hat Pirates at Sabaody Archipelago.
At present, however, Kuma's modifications have been completed.
In the finalization of the Pacifista project, Kuma eventually lost his free will, personality and memory to the modifications, in order to ensure his reliability and continuing services towards the world government. In this stage, Kuma shares the same mindless intelligence of his fellow pacifista models, only recognizing individuals as either enemies or allies to the world government. Doflamingo refers to the original personality as being dead, though it was later revealed that Kuma and Dr. Vegapunk, the man responsible for his cybernetic implants, made a secret deal to allow for Kuma to have a temporary relapse by rendering his final free thought as defending the Thousand Sunny. After that, Kuma was relegated to working as a slave to rent and obeying the demands of the world nobles without question.
Prior to his final pacifista modifications, Kuma was an officer in the Revolutionary Army.
As a result, he had control over its lower-ranking members. However, he lost this power when he became a complete slave of the world government. As the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom, he once held political power. Kuma ate the Nikyu Nikyunomi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that gave him paw pads on the palms of his hands. These paw pads have the power to repel anything they come into contact with. His paw pads grant him an absolute defense that allows him to protect himself from all physical attacks, even swords. By Kuma's own admission, his paw pads repel things at the speed of light. Additionally, his power to repel is not just strong, it is also focused into a cannon-like blast, enough to create a deep hole through thick stone. His paw strikes can also travel beyond the target, dealing identical damage to anything behind them as well.
Kuma can repel the air itself, attacking his opponent with a cannon-like shockwave.
He can also compress an immense amount of air between his hands into a single small bubble, and then release the air bubble, which explodes as a supermassive shockwave that can decimate an entire island. Possibly the most impressive application of this fruit is that Kuma can send someone flying over vast distances, even across the world and traveling over the course of several days. The victim of this ability is encased in a paw bubble that protects them from and breaks through any obstacles that are in the way of the destination of Kuma's choosing. To an outside observer, the victim appears to vanish. Deputy Commanders of the Revolutionary Army. The forces of the Revolutionary Army are divided into 5 armies, each of which operate in a specific region of the world. The G Army operates in the Grand Line, the North Army operates in the North Blue, the East Army operates in the East Blue, the South Army operates in the South Blue, and the West Army operates in the West Blue. Each army is led by an army commander, and each commander has a deputy commander who assists them.
Deputy Commander of G Army Inazuma.
Inazuma is a newcomer and the deputy commander of the G Army in the Revolutionary Army, serving under Emporio Ivankov as his right-hand man.
As a man, Inazuma is mostly serious, calm and level-headed, almost emotionless.
He only shows emotions during critical moments, such as relief when he thought that Ivankov survived his battle against Magellan, and panic moments later when he realized that Ivankov had been defeated by Magellan. As either personality, he is very loyal to Ivankov and will usually do nothing until given an order. Being a deputy commander of the Revolutionary Army, Inazuma boasts significant authority within the organization. Within the G Army, his authority is second only to his direct superior, Ivankov. Inazuma is an accomplished fighter who is capable of fighting while still maintaining his somewhat jaunty pose and holding his glass of wine. Though he appears to primarily fight with his devil fruit powers, he is also a proficient physical fighter, proven when he sent a wolf from the ferocious wolf unit flying with a kick. Even the level 6 prisoners complement his skills.
Inazuma ate the Choki no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit which allows him to transform parts of his body into scissors.
His scissors can cut through any solid material, no matter how durable, including stone and metal. He can manipulate anything he snips with his scissors as though it were made of paper. In addition to simply attacking his opponents with his scissor blades, he can cut through things around him to give himself an advantage, such as by cutting a staircase down so that his enemies cannot follow him. He can use this power to manipulate the terrain. By cutting the ground into strips, he can attack his opponent by hurling the strips at them.
He can also swing them upright, allowing him to create a protective wall. Deputy Commander of the Northern Army Giron. Giron is the deputy commander of the North Army in the Revolutionary Army and the assistant of Karasu.
As a member of the Revolutionary Army, Giron has no qualms with challenging the world government, especially with his status as an officer.
Giron is a bit of a trickster and likes partaking in bets. He seems to respect Sabo, referring to him with an honorific as Sabo-san, unlike most of his compatriots.
As a deputy commander within the Revolutionary Army, Giron has some degree of command over lower-ranking revolutionaries, especially those within the North Army, where his authority is second only to his direct superior, Karasu.
Giron is capable of eating inedible objects, not suffering any sort of consequence from doing so. It is unknown if this is due to a devil fruit ability or not. Giron and his fellow deputy commanders Asciano, Ahiru and Gambo were at the coast of Momoiro Island when they spotted a ship sailing towards them.
Gambo suggested a bet over whether the ship was an enemy, to which Giron agreed and bet on it being Sabo returning. After Giron turned out to be correct, Gambo refused to pay and accused him of cheating with a telescope, while Giron ate the telescope to erase the evidence.
Deputy Commander of the Eastern Army Ahiru.
Ahiru is the deputy commander of the East Army in the Revolutionary Army and the assistant of Bello Betty. As a member of the Revolutionary Army, Ahiru has no qualms with challenging the world government, especially with her status as an officer. Ahiru appears to take her nature as a cyborg rather seriously, making up mechanical sounds with her mouth whenever she moves her cybernetic arm around. As a deputy commander within the Revolutionary Army, Ahiru has some degree of command over lower-ranking revolutionaries, especially those within the East Army, where her authority is second only to her direct superior, Bello Betty. According to herself, Ahiru's cybernetic arm has shooting capabilities. Ahiru and her fellow deputy commanders were on the shore of Momoiro Island when they spotted a ship sailing towards them. She was prepared to shoot at the ship with her cybernetic arm in case it was an enemy, and she was relieved to see that the ship contained Sabo and survivors from the Goa Kingdom.
Deputy Commander of the Western Army Asciano.
Asciano is a cattlemank and the deputy commander of the West Army in the Revolutionary Army and the assistant of Morley. As a member of the Revolutionary Army, Asciano has no qualms with challenging the world government, especially with his status as an officer. Asciano appears to have a speech impediment and speaks in broken sentences. As a deputy commander within the Revolutionary Army, Asciano has some degree of command over lower-ranking revolutionaries, especially those within the West Army, where his authority is second only to his direct superior, Morley.
As a mink, Asciano is capable of using electro and can take a Sulong form under the gaze of a full moon. Deputy Commander of the Southern Army Gambo.
Gambo is the deputy commander of the South Army in the Revolutionary Army and the assistant of Lindbergh. As a member of the Revolutionary Army, Gambo has no qualms with challenging the world government, especially with his status as an officer.
Gambo enjoys bets and will use any opportunity to start one.
As a deputy commander within the Revolutionary Army, Gambo has some degree of command over lower-ranking revolutionaries, especially those within the South Army, where his authority is second only to his direct superior, Lindbergh.
Gambo and his fellow deputy commanders Asciano, Ahiro and Girone were at the coast of Momoiro Island when they spotted a ship sailing towards them.
Gambo suggested a bet over whether the ship was an enemy, to which Girone agreed and bet on it being Sabo returning. After Girone turned out to be correct, Gambo refused to pay and accused him of cheating with a telescope, while Girone ate the telescope to erase the evidence. Member of Revolutionary Army Koala. Koala is a former slave who was set free by Fisher Tiger's rampage on Mary Geoise. She sailed along with the Sun Pirates to reach her hometown. At some point later, she joined the Revolutionary Army, eventually becoming the Fishman Karate assistant instructor and a high-ranking officer. She now often works alongside both Sabo and Hack. Aladdin described Koala as having the lifestyle of a slave ingrained in her blood. Even after being set free for 3 years, she was very apologetic and vowed to never cry or stop working. The pirate explained that if a slave ever cried or stopped cleaning, they would be killed. Koala seemed to consider the Sun Pirates her masters, as she asked them if she would be killed if she stopped cleaning. Aladdin also said that slaves panicked constantly, even when alone, and that they couldn't trust anyone.
It is unknown if Koala also became paranoid in that regard.
When Fisher Tiger convinced her that his crew were not like the celestial dragons by throwing his gun into the ocean, she finally cried for the first time in years. She then began to regard the Sun Pirates as her family rather than her masters, though this did not stop her habit of cleaning even when she was not asked. At the age of 23, Koala has become much more mature, having shown sympathy towards Sabo for not being able to save Ace, telling him he should not let his guilt get to him. She has also become rather playful and cheery, having gleefully hugged Robin after meeting her and also teasing Sabo about him crying upon meeting Luffy again. She has also been shown to have a temper, as she got angry with Sabo for fighting Fujitora instead of staying at his post and comically pinched his cheeks for his disregard for his duties as a revolutionary. She has been shown to have certain skills like being able to take down larger enemies in great agility and can make a big jump from the stands to all the way down to an underground port while bringing Sabo clothes to wear. Her position indicates that in terms of combat, she is above simple revolutionary soldiers, as she seems to have a decent level within Fishman standards despite being human. She is skilled enough at Fishman karate to be able to teach it and was able to defeat an opponent much larger than her. Not being a fishwoman and still being able to learn the art makes her more impressive. Member of Revolutionary Army Hack.
100th Dan Hack is a Japanese soldier fishman and a member of the Revolutionary Army. He went to Dressrosa to investigate the arms trafficking there and competed at the Corrida Coliseum for the Maramara no Mi. Hack is a calm and proud person, and follows a dream where a path of friendship may be formed by fighting. For that reason, he will continue fighting. He finds fighting battles to be honorable and thus dislikes those who show a lack of respect toward a fight, such as Bartholomew. He is very honorable and dislikes attacking an opponent from the back, but he will do it if said opponent is not worthy of his respect, as he did to Bartholomew, who was urinating on the side of the fighting ring and was, in Hack's opinion, not taking the battle seriously. As a fishman, Hack has 10 times the strength of a normal human. His exceptional superhuman strength allowed him to stop an assault from a large gladiator by grabbing his opponent's spiked club, with the man commenting that he was unable to move his weapon in Hack's iron grip. However, Hack does not seem to be very resilient, as he was defeated by a kick from Bartholomew after breaking his hand against his barrier. Hack is a highly proficient expert in fishman karate, being a 100-level practitioner and an instructor. Hack is a fishman jiu-jitsu martial artist. He could use high-level fishman karate techniques to defeat his opponents in one hit, knocking out a gladiator larger than himself. Member of Revolutionary Army Terry Giltio. Terry Giltio is an intelligence controller at the Revolutionary Army headquarters on Baltigo. As a member of the Revolutionary Army, Terry Giltio has made an enemy of the world government, and as such, he is a bold individual that is willing to risk his life to stand up to one of the world's most powerful forces. Furthermore, he is also a trustworthy individual as he was given the responsibility of being in charge of the Revolutionary Army Headquarters Intelligence and Information Network. Terry Giltio is loyal to Monkey D. Dragon, as the latter is the supreme commander of the Revolutionary Army. Furthermore, the fact that Dragon keeps Terry Giltio close to him and entrusts him with gathering intelligence suggests that Dragon considers him a trustworthy individual. Nothing is known about Terry Giltio's combat abilities. As an officer and intelligence controller for the Revolutionary Army, he has authority over lower-ranking soldiers in the organization. Member of Revolutionary Army Bunny Joe. Bunny Joe is a member of the Revolutionary Army and the leader of the group that rescued people of Tequila Wolf from slavery along with Nico Robin. Like the other revolutionaries, he is loyal to Dragon. He seems to be a generous man as he escorted Robin to meet Dragon by her own choosing and did anything to accommodate Robin while on the way to Baltigo. Since he was the leader of the group that liberated the inhabitants of Tequila Wolf and Nico Robin, he must have had authority over a number of subordinates. During the liberation of Tequila Wolf, Joe is seen using a flintlock. Member of Revolutionary Army Moda. Moda is a milkmaiden from the Goa Kingdom that Ace met during his cover story. She is the daughter of Kota and Kyuji. Following the destruction of her homeland, Moda was enlisted by the Revolutionary Army. Moda is a kind and caring girl, rescuing Ace from a river and nursing him to health. She also cares deeply for her parents. Moda is also afraid of the wrath of the world nobles. Moda is not an experienced fighter, but after having her latent power awakened by Betty's Kobu Kobu no Mi, Moda was able to defeat Peachbeard, a pirate captain with a bounty of belly 52 million, with only one hit with a stick. Member of Revolutionary Army Raise Max. Raise Max, also known as the Legendary Gambler, is a non-canon member of the Revolutionary Army who appeared in One Piece film, Gold. Max was initially a bold and confident hero, but after receiving a huge loss in Grand Tesoro, he started resigning himself to his imprisonment and losing hope. However, Max was swayed by Monkey D. Luffy's determination, giving him the motivation to risk his life to help him and his allies escape from their confines. Max possesses tremendous strength and durability, as he was able to slow down an extremely large and fast van just by pressing his body against the wall and holding one of the blades back. He was able to withstand being tossed around by the fan's blades and regain his composure enough to allow him to crawl on the fan. Member of Revolutionary Army Eliza. Eliza is a rookie spy attempting to join the Revolutionary Army, tasked with infiltrating the Marines and finding Wombat. She appears in One Piece Odyssey. Little is known about Eliza's abilities, but she is seen dual-wielding short swords. Her exact strength is unknown, but she's confident in her abilities, and was prepared to fight off an ambush of 5 Marines. However, despite her confidence, she was later unable to defeat a group of Marines of roughly the same size. As a trial to join the Revolutionary Army, Eliza was tasked with infiltrating the Marines and recovering information from Wombat. However, she could not make contact with him,
and her identity as a spy was somehow leaked to the Marines. She was nearly arrested in Oris Plaza, but was saved by Luffy, Robin, and Chopper, and thanked them for their help but asked to finish her mission alone. A short time later, she was ambushed by Marines again, and saved once again. After thanking them a second time, she rushed off to her initial meeting spot with Wombat, hoping to find him there. Upon reaching the rendezvous point, Wombat revealed himself to be a legitimate Marine, and nearly arrested Eliza, but she was saved by the Straw Hats again. Disappointed that she was unable to find information, Eliza and the Straw Hats retreated to the ocean, and Eliza left on a small boat. Associate of Revolutionary Army Vegapunk.
Dr. Vegapunk is the leading scientist of the SSG and is in the employment of the Marines.
His work includes discovering the secrets and uses of Seastone, the secrets of how devil fruit powers work, the co-discovery of the lineage factor and its applications, the creation of the Pacifista and Seraphim, and various other scientific achievements that are said to be at least 500 years ahead of current technology. He hails from the technologically advanced Karakuri Island and currently resides on Egghead, where his laboratory is located. He ate the Nomi Nomi Nomi, which allows his brain to store an infinite amount of information. Before being employed under the world government, Vegapunk had been the director of an outlaw scientific research team known as MADS, where he worked alongside other notable scientists such as Caesar Clown, Vinsmoke Judge, Queen, and Buckingham Stussy. The team was eventually arrested, and Vegapunk was later integrated into the Marines as its head scientist after MAD's dissolution. However, once the world government learned he was researching the Void Century, they dispatched CP0 and conspired with York to eliminate him. At some point in the past, due to being occupied with his inventions, Vegapunk managed to split his being into 6 different people, referred to as satellites or offshoots, which share Vegapunk's brain via punk records. These satellites all identify as Dr. Vegapunk and will introduce themselves as such, but also possess their own names and number designations to distinguish them. The satellites are also distinguished by embodying a particular aspect of Vegapunk's personality. His true body is called the Stella. The method Vegapunk used in order to split his being into 6 different entities is still unknown. In his youth, Vegapunk was a generous person who cared very much for the inhabitants of his island, willing to help them with his inventions. He is considered the island's pride and joy, and the residents are still hoping for his return. Each of Vegapunk's 6 satellites possesses a dominant personality trait that is presumably present in Vegapunk in general. While he has strong morals and a sense of justice and pride as a scientist, Shaka, he also possesses malevolent traits and an inclination to steal from others in order to fund his research, Lilith, and can be prone to greed, York. There is considerable conflict and reasoning between these two sides. He appears to be quite thoughtful and wise, Edison and Pythagoras, but can be prone to getting angry at other people's inability to properly replicate and utilize his technological developments, to the point of lashing out violently, Atlas. He seems to have an interest for dragons, as he created 2 of them on Punk Hazard, and an artificial devil fruit that allows the user to transform into one. However, he deemed the fruit a failure, but that was only due to the user's dragon form not being the same color as the dragon form bestowed by the real devil fruit it was based on. On that note, Vegapunk is a serious perfectionist. He was seen bawling on the ground after Luffy had informed him of how an artificial devil fruit, which he had made from Kadu's lineage factor, had led its consumer to gaining the same mythical Zoan abilities, albeit with a different color scheme. Vegapunk appears to be honorable, as he granted Kuma his final wish as a human being, which was to program Kuma to protect the Thousand Sunny until the Straw Hat Pirates return. Vegapunk takes his survival seriously and will not hesitate to ask for help when necessary. He requested Luffy to get him off Egghead and away from the world government when they moved to assassinate him, despite just meeting the young emperor. He does not mind dragging others' allies into helping him without considering their circumstances first. While it is unclear when Vegapunk started using his satellites to split his workload, he himself is famed as the greatest scientific genius the world has ever known, having tremendous knowledge and unmatched understanding in all fields of science, from cell biology to military technology, at the beginning of his work on Karakuri Island as noted by Frankie. He has read and fully memorized every single book that had been rescued from O'Hara. Vegapunk has in deep knowledge and understand of devil fruits, having studied many old texts about them.
He is the only known person beside the five elders to realize the true nature of Luffy's devil fruit after witnessing his awakened form.
He discovered exactly how devil fruit powers are transferred over to a user, and he was also the scientist behind the method of adding devil fruit powers into inanimate objects, such as swords and guns. By using this method, he was able to create a unique blood for his latest creation, the Seraphim, by extracting the lineage factor of a paramecia user, synthesizing it, creating the so-called green blood. He even went as far as having developed a theory about how devil fruits came into existence from his knowledge, theorizing that devil fruits are the embodiment of what humans desire and could become, which is also the reason why the sea, which he calls the mother of nature, rejects any devil fruit user and makes them unable to swim, as such behavior is loathed by the sea and it considers these wishes to transcend the world people wish to live in as abnormalities.
Vegapunk is an extraordinary surgeon.
He is the one who modified Bartholomew Kuma into a cyborg, and he has produced many pacifista replicas of him as well, granting them some of the abilities of Kazara's devil fruit in the process. These replicas bleed actual blood, like Kuma himself.
However, they lack Kuma's own devil fruit abilities.
Vegapunk ate the Nomi Nomi Nomi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that allows his brain to store an indefinite amount of information and recall everything he has ever learned. It also causes his brain and head to expand continuously as he acquires new knowledge. Due to splitting himself up into 6 people, Vegapunk is now able to be many times more productive as his satellites are capable of working independently at the same time. The fact that each of his satellites can also be equipped with weapons, vehicles, and technology also makes Vegapunk drastically more difficult to handle in combat. The satellites are capable of communicating with each other via an earpiece and may also share senses, as Shaka was able to see what was around Lilith while the two of them were in different locations. Necessary bodily functions can be assigned to one satellite, allowing the others to forego them.
Shaka Punk 01.
Shaka, also designated as Punk 01, is one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of good.
Being designated the good satellite of Vegapunk, Shaka is extremely reasonable, collected and thoughtful.
During Lilith's confrontation with the Straw Hat Pirates, Shaka was shown to be extremely observant of the crew's mannerisms and abilities, and quickly conveyed to Lilith that she had blundered.
Shaka does not approve of Lilith looting and pillaging from others, saying such actions are detrimental to a scientist's pride. Although not as antagonistic as Lilith, Shaka is very cautious and careful when facing potential dangers. Even when asking the Straw Hat Pirates for assistance in helping Vegapunk escape, he still immobilized them with DOM shoes until he grew confident enough to trust them. He is loyal to Stella, the original Vegapunk, believing that it is their duties as his satellites to ensure his safety, even if at the cost of their lives. Being a satellite of Vegapunk, Shaka has likely been a contributor to the genius scientist's numerous technological developments. Shaka appears to be able to share senses with other satellites, allowing them to know what was going on with Lilith while she was out at sea. Shaka's analytical skills are a boon in combat situations, as they were able to prevent Lilith from foolishly attacking the Straw Hats by quickly pointing out the crew's capabilities and strategic mindset. Lilith Punk 02.
Lilith, also designated as Punk 02, is one of 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of evil. Being designated the evil satellite of Vegapunk, Lilith is the manifestation of Vegapunk's ruthless and malevolent traits, thus coming off as a very deceptive and untrustworthy individual. She utilizes her technology and weaponry to steal from voyagers, chiefly pirates, who trespass on Egghead, justifying this to Shaka as necessary for the sake of keeping Vegapunk's research operational. She also thought nothing of handing the Straw Hat Pirates to CP0, being fully aware that Rob Lucci was an assassin. Lilith possesses a rash attitude and often acts impulsively, annoyed and derisively. For this reason, she is one of the most outgoingly combative and daring of the satellites, being eager to confront any perceived enemies directly and violently, although she has moments of clarity and will pull back in situations she cannot win. Lilith also hates being ordered around, especially by Shaka, her good counterpart whose exemplary behavior tends to constantly get under her skin.
Despite being evil, Lilith actually has a compassionate side.
She cares about her fellow satellites, as she wanted to fight CP0 to avenge Atlas. She also was deeply worried when Edison almost got killed by S-Shark's laser and relieved when Sanji saved him in time. Being one of 6 manifestations of the genius scientist Vegapunk, Lilith has contributed to his numerous technological advances and breakthroughs. Despite the technology and weaponry at her disposal, Lilith was cautioned by Shaka that she was not equipped to take on Roronoa Zoro and Nico Robin, 2 members of an Emperor's crew with bounties around belly 1 billion, in combat.
Lilith has made heavy use of mechas and cybernetically enhanced animals to aid her in combat.
She pilots a giant mecha called the Vega Force 1, which is extremely large to the point of being able to carry the Thousand Sunny in its hands. The Vega Force is able to move underwater and unleash explosions when it punches. Additionally, Lilith has power over sea beasts that she has turned into cyborgs. These sea beasts are equipped with numerous weapons, with an example being the mecha shark having a torpedo launcher in its mouth. This army of cyborg creatures allows Lilith to easily surround and overwhelm ships sailing the sea, enabling her to loot them. However, she has had issues with achieving programming to completely override the organic urges of the creatures, which limits her ability to have them do exactly what she wants. Shaka himself would also note that any equipment, weaponry and modified sea beasts at Lilith's disposal would be useless against a swordsman of Zoro's caliber. Lilith wields a large futuristic-looking gun, called a bubble gun because it shoots bubbles that are capable of deflecting any attacks. The bubbles are made of sea energy, meaning they also serve as a weakness for devil fruit users.
Edison 03.
Edison, also designated as Punk 03, is one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of thinking. He is a companion and ally to the Straw Hat Pirates. Being designated the thinking satellite of Vegapunk, Edison is extremely energetic and constantly busy plotting new invention ideas and running experiments. This behavior even continues should dangerous situations arise or danger be imminent, as Edison was coming up with ideas when CP0 arrived at the Leba phase to start their assassination on all Vegapunks. It frequently interjects with Eureka whenever having an idea.
Edison was shown to be taken aback toward Lilith's violent tendencies and threats.
Edison also seems to care for Vegapunk's allies, as Edison was worried that Stussy would become a target of the world government should her true allegiance towards Vegapunk become known to the world government, and initially was unsure to contact her when CP0 came close to eliminate all Vegapunks. Being a satellite of Vegapunk, Edison has been a contributor to the genius scientist's numerous technological developments, appearing to be primarily responsible for conceiving and mapping out details for new inventions. Edison wears a jetpack on its back, allowing it to fly and hover in the air.
Pythagoras Punk 04.
Pythagoras, also designated as Punk 04, is one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of wisdom. Being Vegapunk's wisdom satellite, Pythagoras has shown to be calm and highly interested in observing the performances of Vegapunk's inventions. It is devoted to recording data from these tests and examining the potential scientific implications, and can grow very excited when situations arise that provide exceptional data. It also tends to resort to peaceful solutions, as it was trying to reason with the CP0 agents that were sent to kill Vegapunk and his satellites, trying to create excuses for them not to land on Egghead. It even advised Lilith not to make things worse when she got angry at their repeated requests for permission to dock, knowing impulsive reactions could lead to them just coming to the island anyway. Being a satellite of Vegapunk, Pythagoras has been a contributor to the genius scientist's numerous technological developments. Pythagoras is extremely intelligent, being capable of drawing a large number of theories and conclusions just by witnessing Vegapunk's inventions in action. When observing one of the Seraphim in combat, Pythagoras quickly made observations regarding potential lineage factor traits. It also seems to be part of Pythagoras' duties to compile and analyze data.
Atlas Punk 05.
Atlas, also designated as Punk 05, is one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of violence. Being designated the violent satellite of Vegapunk, Atlas has a short temper and is prone to violence upon getting angry, which has been shown to occur if someone attacks her or if people show an inability to utilize her inventions successfully. She is very talkative and will gladly give detailed explanations on the inner workings of her inventions. She is quite interested in the question of the definition of reality, and though she has a firm view on the matter, she thinks other people need to decide the answer for themselves. She is also shown to be rather reckless, as she recklessly fought against CP0 despite Shaka warning her that she cannot win against CP0. Being a satellite of Vegapunk, Atlas has been a contributor to the genius scientist's numerous technological developments. Atlas seems to carry out a human's basic need of violence, and also possibly, physical workouts on behalf of the other Vegapunks, which she fulfills by attacking holograms. Befitting her large size, Atlas possesses significant strength, as she was able to punch Luffy and send him slamming into a wall with great force, leaving him with bruises. She also possesses great durability, being barely affected by a normal punch from Luffy. Her body made a metallic clanging sound when Luffy struck it, meaning she may wear armor or have cyborg modifications. According to her, she is capable of changing her mask at will and replace whatever part of her gets damaged. However, how she is possible to do that or if it is something she created has yet to be explored upon. As one of Vegapunk's satellites, Atlas has access to numerous futuristic equipment and weapons that she and the other satellites have developed. Her gloves, which are called light pressure gloves, allow her to interact with light as though it is tangible. This will cause the holograms on Egghead to react to her actions as though they were real, such as when she punched a dragon hologram and it recoiled. The jetpack on her back enables her to fly through the air. York Punk 06. York, also designated as Punk 06, is one of the 6 satellites of Dr. Vegapunk, embodying his aspect of greed. She acted as an ally to the Straw Hat Pirates at first, but was later revealed to be a traitor responsible for instigating the Egghead incident and many of the events prior during the Egghead arc. Being designated the greed satellite of Vegapunk, York is a very gluttonous and lazy individual. Her primary task seems to be to eat, sleep, and relieve herself for the other satellites so they can perform their own duties unimpeded. She seems to have a vapid personality with her head in the clouds, rarely speaking except for yawning or remarking about sleeping or eating, but wantonly approached a dangerous seraphim because she found it cute. However, this was later shown to be a facade. In truth, York is a highly selfish schemer who possesses lofty ambitions, willing to betray her fellow Vegapunks solely for the chance to become a world noble. She believes that only one Vegapunk is necessary in the world and is not against eliminating her peers if needed, betraying the satellite's purpose of ensuring Stella's safety even at the cost of their lives. York also shows no signs of mercy or remorse should casualties arise due to her actions, as she was willing to accept all of them should it serve her ultimate goal. When defeated, York is shown to be quite cowardly and spiteful. Being a satellite of Vegapunk, York has likely been a contributor to the genius scientist's numerous technological developments. In spite of her rather passive role as a scientist, York is very cunning, deceptive, manipulative, and skilled at keeping a low profile, having orchestrated most of the incidents that have happened during the Egghead arc without ever arousing suspicion of herself or being detected by either Vegapunk or the other satellites. This includes prior, arc-leading events such as contacting the 5 elders about Vegapunk's history research or kidnapping several Cypher Pole agents multiple times, occurrences even Vegapunk admitted he was completely unaware of. York is capable of replicating the Mother Flame, which makes her valuable to the world government. York is also a skilled gunwoman, having shot Shaka in the head with a simple, ordinary pistol and from a considerable range. Associate of Revolutionary Army Jewelry Bonnie. Jewelry Bonnie, also known as the Big Eater, is one of 12 pirates who are referred to as the Worst Generation, being the captain of the Bonnie Pirates, a pirate crew from the South Blue. She is the daughter of Bartholomew Kuma. Upon reaching the Sabaody archipelago, she had a bounty of belly 140 million. 2 years later, it had been raised to belly 320 million. She is a companion of the Straw Hat Pirates during the Egghead arc. Befitting her epithet, Bonnie is an extremely gluttonous person with very poor table manners. She will, for instance, demand more food even though she has not finished her current meal.
While Bonnie may have an aggressive temper and acts rude, she displays considerable tactfulness.
She knows when to fight and when to prevent trouble, particularly in dangerous territories such as the Sabaody archipelago. When she saw Zoro attempting to attack a world noble, she orchestrated a scene to fake Zoro's death, knowing full well that such an action would have led to terrible consequences. Several instances suggest that Bonnie has an unforgiving disposition towards those who wrong her, holding grudges and cursing their name occasionally. She swore to crush the Straw Hat Pirates for the chaos they brought to Sabaody and appears to have a gripe with either the world government, the Marines, or the Blackbeard Pirates, blaming one of those parties for an unknown reason. Bonnie does not seem to fear Blackbeard, even going so far as bad-mouthing him at point-blank range. Bonnie may not be a pleasant individual, but she is capable of respecting others, particularly her fellow members of the worst generation, having shown a keen interest in Monkey D. Luffy and Trafalgar Law's exploits. While she was willing to leave her crew behind to escape the Marines alone, her relationship with her father, Bartholomew Kuma, was much closer, as she was heartbroken upon witnessing his brutal enslavement at Mary Geoise and even defended a pacifista unit that resembled her father, proving she is not completely heartless. Bonnie ate a currently unnamed paramecia-type devil fruit that allows her to freely manipulate the aging process of anything, including herself, other people, and objects. She can use this power to disguise herself, as well as cripple opponents by rapidly aging her intended targets into their senior years or regressing them into small, weak children. A unique effect of this ability is that the years Bonnie steals from people are manifested in the form of sparkling jewelry and shapes. Bonnie was in possession of a beam saber, which she picked up from a scrap heap on Egghead. Vegapunk noted it was a failure, as its light attracts a large swarm of bugs, which caused Bonnie to faint in fear. After awakening, Bonnie used a pipe as a makeshift club, swinging it as she chased Vegapunk down a corridor.